So free pouring is something that is basically the ability of the bartender to pour at a specific pace and count in their head and know how much alcohol they're pouring into the glass. What you need is some sort of measuring device. You can have a little jigger, you can have a shot glass that has lines on it. I tend to prefer these just because you can kind of work on different counts. And then you need, a glass that you can pour it into that you can practice with that doesn't have the markings. Take whatever your marked glass or jigger is, get your bottle that you want to pour, and then you're going to shoot for what the kind of universal counting measurement is. 1/4 of an ounce equals 1 count. So 1 ounce, or if you're in Europe watching this, 30 milliliters, is a 4 count shot. So that's that kind of second distinct line on this thing, and you're trying to get it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're gonna spill a little bit around, and that's okay. So what I would do is just kind of pour these a few times and try to get that feeling for it. And then once you kind of got the feeling for it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're trying to get that count so that you're hitting that line right at a 4 count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you want to be accurate, right? Especially because a lot of places will have you do a pour test as part of the hiring process. So you do want to be able to do this like pretty close. I mean, within a hair. I mean, we're within, a hair right there. But still, you need to be able to be accurate if you need to be. Now, the reason that you want to do that 4 count 1 ounce shot, most ingredients are in that 1 to 1.5 to 2 ounce range. That would mean that a 1 ounce is a 4 count, 1.5 ounces is a 6 count, and a 2 ounce is an 8 count, because each count is 1/4 of an ounce. If you have your counts down in that 4 count 1 ounce shot pace, then you can add and subtract ingredients in exact 1/4 ounce increments by adding or subtracting counts. You can count however you want, really, as long as you're accurate. I mean, you could do an 8 count 1 ounce shot. I would recommend no lower than a 4 count 1 ounce shot. So let's try with this other bottle. I'm gonna pour this water back in here a little bit, just to show you that these bottles basically pour the same, even though they're shaped a little bit differently. It's still, the pace is dictated by the pour spout, sort of the liquid, but more so the pour spout. And there's a little bit of that kind of a stall right off the bat, and your counting is when the alcohol is coming out. So really you're counting when the liquid is flowing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. Same result, same pace, different bottle. All right, so now that we have our basic count down, what you want to do is you need to be ambidextrous as a bartender. So that means that you need to be able to do this with your dominant hand, for me, which is right-handed, but you also need to be able to do this with your non-dominant hand. And it might feel a little bit awkward at first, but you'll get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Practice with your dominant hand, practice with your non-dominant hand, and make sure that you can get the 1 ounce, 1.5 ounce, 2 ounce pours. So after you have pouring with your dominant hand and pouring with your non-dominant hand dialed, the next thing we need to do is be able to pour 2 bottles at the same time. 1, 2. Ooh, I think that's gonna be over. I think that's gonna be over because it came out hot. Oh yeah, that's way over, way over. Oh man, that was a good pour. Whoever got that one would be stoked. All right, let's tire one more time. 1, 2. There you go, there's your 2 bottle, 1 ounce shot. You'll wanna do this same thing with multiple bottles for 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. So 1.5 ounces, if you don't wanna do the math, that's 3/4 in each one, which is a 3 count. 2 ounces is gonna be a 4 count with 2 bottles. And that's basically all you need to do to get to be a comprehensive, competent pouring bartender. And really what you'll need to figure out is when you get to your bar, you'll start to learn what the different glassware full of ice looks like with 1 ounce, ounce and a half, 2 ounce. So that eventually you don't really have to count, you can just kind of see visually where to stop. This has traditionally been one of the main things that bartending schools sort of hang their hat on, the ability to get you to actual practice pouring. There's no reason that you can't just do this at home. What you need for pouring is just a couple of basic bottles. Most any bottle, no matter what the size, is gonna have a top that will work. Even wine bottles, plus most alcohol bottles, as you can tell, they'll have a little variation in what they look like at the top anyway. But even mini bottles, like they don't have to be full-size bottles, even mini bottles have proper, regulation size tops on. So here's a little mini Jigger bottle, and so as you can see, that top fits in there fine, just like it's the same size as the full-size bottle. And you can actually pour spouts in beer bottles. Once you have a couple of bottles, the next thing we need is pour spouts. So pour spouts you can get anywhere online, really. If you want to go to a store, you can go to like Bevmo, any restaurant supply stores. There's a couple of types that you're gonna see, and you want to make sure that you get like professional steel speed pourers that have rubber and they're not made out of plastic. There's a bunch of different versions of these and you may see different ones, but the quality ones are the ones that are steel. They have a little bit of an angle to them and a little bit of taper at the top. Here's some cheap ones. So this is just a cheap all plastic pour spout. These actually work pretty well, but they are just really cheap and you might not have these in a bar. Cheap guy number 1 looks like this. Next cheapo one. These ones look similar to this pour spout. They have this fancy top that tries to dupe you in, but if you'll notice, there's no taper on them. So that's kind of the easiest way to tell right off the bat. Now these guys have this little faux air glugger, we'll call it air glugger, but it doesn't actually feed all the way out the top. If you can see the top of this, there's actually not a hole like this guy. Like, see that little hole in there? I don't know if you can see that, but this little air glugger actually comes out the top and does what it's supposed to do. This one is fake and just fakes you out, so these guys. Get proper steel rubber, I don't know if they're steel, aluminum, but whatever, the metal ones with little rubber stoppers. This is like rubber on there, and then that has a little air pour spout that comes out the top. And then you're in business. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have other techniques, other accounting styles, other ways to get this down that I might not have mentioned, and you have a favorite, if you're an experienced bartender, how you have learned or taught other people their accounting techniques, then please share in the comments below. I'm Jason, this has been making you a bartending pro. I'll see you next time. Take care.